This is the story of Tiny People Pizza Factory. Once upon a time in a big city, there was a pizza factory that made giant pizzas. Every day, hundreds of hungry customers would come to the factory to buy slices of pizza so big they had to fold them in half to eat them. The secret of these giant pizzas was a well-kept secret. No one knew how such a small pizza kitchen could make such huge pizzas. And even if they did, they wouldn't believe it. They would think it was a magic trick or something. But we know the truth. It was all thanks to the tiny people who worked in the pizza kitchen. One day, a group of kids decided to sneak into the pizza kitchen and see how the tiny people made the giant pizzas. They were gonna expose the truth no matter what. So after the last customer left, they snuck through the back door and hid behind a giant cheese wheel until they saw the most amazing thing. A bunch of tiny people were coming out from behind the cheese wheel. They were so small, they were like little ants. There were hundreds of them, maybe even thousands. And they were all wearing little chef hats and aprons. The tiny workers were getting ready for the night shift. They were gonna make even more giant pizzas for the customers who would come in the next day. The kids were so surprised to see the tiny people. They couldn't believe their eyes. They had never seen anything like this before, but they had to be careful. If the tiny people saw them, they might get squished by accident. The kids didn't want that to happen. They wanted to take pictures and videos and get evidence of the tiny people and the giant pizza making process. So the kids hid behind the cheese wheel and watched as the tiny workers got to work. The first step was to slice the tomatoes, but the tomatoes were so big, they looked like watermelons. The tiny workers had to climb up the tomato to reach the top and slice it. Some of the workers used tiny knives while others used their teeth. The kids were amazed at how strong and brave the tiny workers were. They couldn't believe they could slice such big tomatoes. Next, the tiny workers started to run on the dough like it was a treadmill. They ran and ran until the dough was flattened. Then they started to splash sauce everywhere with giant spoons. The sauce flew everywhere, hitting the walls and the ceiling. Some of the sauce landed on the kids, too, but they didn't care. They were too busy taking pictures and videos. Then came the cheese. The tiny workers stretched the cheese ropes like jump ropes and flipped them in the air. The cheese flew everywhere, covering the entire pizza. The kids were laughing and cheering. This was so much fun to watch. But the most amazing part was when the tiny workers heated up the oven. They all pushed and pulled on the giant metal thing until it was red hot. Then they put the pizza in and waited for it to bake. The kids were so excited. They couldn't wait to see the finished product. When the pizza was finally done, the tiny workers took it out and put it on a giant cooling rack. Then they started to celebrate on the pizza like it was a playground. They slid down the cheese, splashed in the sauce, and jumped on the dough. The kids were laughing and clapping. This was the best show ever. After the pizza had cooled down, the tiny workers started to cut it into slices. Each slice was as big as a car. Then they put the slices on boxes and sent them off to be delivered. The kids were exhausted from all the excitement. They had never seen anything like this before. They couldn't believe how the tiny people made the giant pizzas. It was amazing. The kids thanked the tiny people for the wonderful show and promised to keep their secret. Then they walked out of the pizza kitchen, hand in hand, and went home. They would never forget their adventure at the pizza factory. And neither will you. Not one tiny person was harmed during the making of this video. Welcome to the Tiny People Pizza Factory 2, a crazy pizza place where tiny people make giant pizzas for kids. This is a place where the dough is always fresh, the sauce is always homemade, and the cheese is always stretchy and delicious. But today is extra special because the workers have just finished building their very own mini pizza shop right inside the giant factory. It's so cute. The sign says open for pizza business. And guess what? The first customer is already here. It's a big kid who wants to try their pizza. Please give him a big welcome. He sits down at the tiny table while the workers get to work making a giant pizza. They need a big slice to feed this hungry customer. But how are they gonna cut such a huge pizza? No problem. The head chef has a huge saw to cut the most enormous pizzas into perfect slices. I love his little chef hat. He looks so cute. While the pizza is being cut, let's go check on the next customer. Who could that be? It's a funny squirrel wearing sunglasses and a little hat. He came to the pizza shop riding on a skateboard. I bet he's one of the coolest customers ever. Now we need to deliver the pizza slices to these hungry customers. The best way to deliver a pizza is on a toy car. Many workers use their toy cars to carry giant pizzas. I also love that they use a pulley system to help them lift the pizzas onto the car. So smart. But look, the cheese is so stretchy. It's gonna wrap around the whole car. Oh no, and now it's gonna wrap around our little chef. He's gonna slip and slide all the way down. Pizza delivery can be dangerous, but these mini workers are pros. They have other cool ways to deliver pizzas, like using a mini forklift. Whoa, that forklift can really move some pizzas. Look at the toppings flying everywhere. It's so funny. And sometimes when there's an extra large order, they need to use a flatbed truck. These tiny workers are strong, but sometimes they need to take a break. When they do, they like to hang out by the soda machine and chat with their friends. Look at this adorable mini worker. She's enjoying her pizza with a soda. I bet it tastes delicious. Now we need to make another giant pizza. This time we will make it extra special for the next customer. Wait till you see what they make. This mini worker is gonna make a silly pizza with candy toppings. Look at that chocolate sauce. I think it's gonna taste sweet. And then this worker puts sprinkles on top. The pizza looks so good, but I wonder who the next customer is. Oh, wow, it's a funny penguin. He brought his pet frog to the pizza shop. How cool is that? The tiny chefs keep experimenting in the kitchen. This time they made a star pizza. Then they made a heart pizza. I love when they put the little smiley faces on the pizzas. And then they even made a rocket pizza. Blast off. After all their hard work, everyone is hungry. They all sit down together and enjoy their pizzas. It's the best pizza party ever. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this fun food cartoon, please leave a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channel for more fun cartoons for kids.